Are
Uh,
you thinking that this is
so,
now a helpless situation? Are you worried that you're not going to get
yeah,
out?
I had a flashback to that movie of the guy who was trapped with his, hand, and that, he had to cut his hand off. And, I'm like, okay, the reason why he had that was because he was in a place where nobody could find him, and he knew that. And I'm like, okay, so I'm in a situation where I have no control. I've got to do something other than lay here and wait and pray that somebody finds me. So I determined that I was going to create some goals that I needed to achieve to be able to get out of there. So my first goal was to get my helmet off my head because it was making it so I couldn't move. And then my backpack, which was felt like something was squeezing it somewhere so that it wouldn't move. I couldn't shift my body because it was stuck. So at that point, I started shifting my body around, trying to get a position where I could reach up underneath my chin and be able to grab the release mechanism on the chin strap. So and I made a whole bunch of efforts, and finally I was like, you know what? You're not trying hard enough. Try harder. So I'm like, I forced my hand up even harder and was able to get that pinch, and it popped free, and I was so elated. I was like, in your face, Rock. I'm free now. So I throw my helmet off and I start squirming around. And now that I'm helmet free, I can see that there's a rock to my right that's pinning me on that side too. So
Not
got
just
my
one rock, there are two rocks pinning both sides of your body.
right above me and beside me. And so I end up, I look at the rock here, and so you see how I'm messed up right here. My face is on the ground, and I have to figure out how to, be able to move. So I grabbed a tree branch or a brush branch and started digging. So I gave myself some room underneath my cheek and was able to move my head a little bit and see. And I was pushing on the rock and I saw it wiggle. So I realized that I can move it. So I started digging the dirt underneath the rock and around the rock and got the rock so that I could shove the rock into that hole that I dug. And that was what freed me. And so then I was able to bring my arms up, and then I was able to back backwards out of my backpack. And at that point, I was able to get out from underneath the rock. So, and then
Help me here with this from start to finish of being pinned. From start to finish of slipping, falling, getting pinned to then freeing yourself. How long is that period of time?
that's 12 hours.
12 hours.
12 hours. It was cold, freezing. I didn't mention that the whole entire time I'm getting colder and colder. My body is shaking, and I'm also having, I'm getting cramps in my body. So it's when you have a cramp, you've got to straighten your body out and then flex your feet to release that. So there was some times where I have to pause and do all that stuff to get that to go away before going on to the next thing, and it's this recurring cycle, shift, wiggle, squirm, cramp, freezing cold, having a hard time breathing. It was really scary, and I'm just you know praying at the same time while I'm out there. I'm like, God, give me wisdom, help me to figure out how to get out of this. And
Well, but
so,
then too, if it's been 12 hours, are you starting to get worried that your cell phone is dead?
well, the thing is that there's no concept of time. I had no idea that it was that long. I mean, to me, it could have been 10 minutes. It's really a strange thing when you're, I guess, the effect of maybe adrenaline and, I'm assuming I was maybe in shock or something. I don't know, but I don't know. Physically, I couldn't tell if I was injured. I felt like I could move. I had pain in my left hip, which was probably from the branch that I was, being forced onto. Other than that, my face, and of course the hard breathing, which, I don't have a medical background, so I don't know what would cause me to breathe like that. So, yeah, no, it just didn't feel that long. So when I got out, I grabbed my phone and I turned it on, and I see it's 2:10, and I'm like, wow, oh my word. So I try standing up. I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna warm myself up. I'm gonna do some jumping jacks or something, and then I'm gonna hike out of here. And at that moment, when I start to move around a little bit, I realized that I can't move. So I ended up, I sat back down, laid down, crossed my arms. Well, I should say, I made my phone call first. I called 911. And
So you realize you can't move because you're hurt.
Right.
But you have the phone now, you turn it on and you dial 911.
Yeah, I have 6% power left. 6%. That was I was also listening to an Audible story while I was stuck underneath there. Is that my Audible was going while I was walking around looking. So I had some company.
How do you have such a good attitude about all this?